this is part of a campaign which is happening mainly in the United States at the moment, but it's happening today. It's called Restore the Fourth, and the website is restorethefourth.net. They've organised a demonstration across 100 cities in the United States. This is a small gathering here at Speaker's Corner in London. Hopefully it'll be a bit bigger later on. There's another one in Munich, and hopefully people will begin to see the relevance of why we should be standing up against the universal apparatus of surveillance, observing and monitoring the entire world's population. And that information, most people haven't really clocked on what the significance of it is. When I was a young man, in 1989, I lived in East Germany. And in East Germany, a lot of people used to say the secret police had you under observation. They used to have people who reported. I've got the Stasi file myself. I've got a copy of the record that they had a Stasi file on me. And people rose up in 1989 against the fact that they were being placed under universal surveillance by the state in East Germany. In the Soviet Union and in China, we are always told that the people in China or the Soviet Union were under universal surveillance. But what has been revealed in the last 3 weeks about the surveillance activities of the United States government and the British intelligence services, and today in Le Monde they revealed that the French intelligence services have a universal campaign as well. The British have been collecting for the last year every single electronic communication in the world. All of your data, all your emails, all your telephone calls, all your Skype conversations, every connection you have between you, your friends and the external world. All of it collected by the British state without permission of Parliament, of government, of monarchy or of the people. The United States government has been collecting information in collaboration with Google, Facebook, Yahoo and the major corporations, Microsoft, collecting the data of all users of these tools of communication with our information. The Constitution of the United States of America states, Part 4 of the US Constitution states the following: the right of the people to be secure in their possessions, houses, papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Today is the 4th of July, Independence Day, the day when the United States celebrates its Constitution, and yet its Constitution is clearly, presently being violated. Not only that, but in order to maintain their dictatorial control over the world's information, everything you communicate, in order for them to take control and maintain control, they are using unprecedented methods to try and harass one young person holed up in Moscow airport. That person now is not permitted to move anywhere on earth. The president no less, of Bolivia got on an aeroplane from Moscow 2 days ago. What happened when he took his plane? The president, elected president of Bolivia, got on an aeroplane and tried to fly home after an official meeting with the Russian government and with other governments about oil and gas. What happened? You may have seen in the newspapers. The president of Bolivia was kidnapped by the Austrian government for 17 hours. He was banned from flying over France, driven out of Spain, and banned from flying over, what was the other country? Portugal. What does this mean? Imagine if David Cameron flew to Latin America and then was arrested in Latin America and his aeroplane searched. The British would declare war on any country that did such a thing. And yet this is exactly what the European governments did against the leader of Bolivia in the last 3 days. Why? A couple of days ago it was revealed that the British government, in conjunction with the Americans, are spying on all data in the world. Everything you send by email, everything you communicate by telephone, everyone you have a connection with, every Facebook activity you engage in, every communication you engage in your lifetime, controlled and collected by British intelligence agencies and the Americans. Is that supposed to be democracy? Is that supposed to be freedom? Is that supposed to be legitimate? This is the biggest ever spy scandal against the people in world history. So why should we be concerned about the universal collection of data? Because it will mean that you are no longer a free human being. If your mechanisms of communication with your friends, family and the outside world and the state are permanently under surveillance, and you know that they're permanently under surveillance. There was a man by the name of Jeremy Bentham. Back in the 19th century, he lived in London and he worked at the University College London. And there he developed something called panopticon. Panopticon was a prison whereby in the center of the prison stood one guard, and he would see everybody, and everybody's behavior was controlled because they knew they were under permanent observation. If you believe the state is there to help you, you are wrong. The state is there as a weapon of power for those who own and control the wealth of the world. Giant banks, giant corporations who control governments of the world. It is against the law what they are doing. And yet Barack Obama comes on television and says this man must be arrested. Arrested for what? For telling us about the criminality of the American government? For telling us about the criminality of the British government? For telling us about their criminal conspiracies to survey, observe and incarcerate all of our information, which means incarcerate all of us. In Stalinist East Germany, people used to say, what's the biggest danger of being a Communist Party member? They said, having to know your past in advance. Isn't that the danger now that all of us are confronted with? We all have to think before we do anything electronically, before we say anything to anyone via data communication, whether or not this will be used in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, by God knows what government against us. And this is supposed to be a society in which our data, our ideas, our lives are free. In reality, we are living in times in which the enormous accumulation of data by corporations who say they're giving us information for free. No, it is not true. Google is not giving us information for free. Facebook is not giving us information for free. The US government is not storing to help us against terrorism. On the contrary, the US government is the #1 terrorist government in the world. #1. Let's take one example. Edward Snowden is wanted for treason in America. Espionage and treason could carry the death penalty for telling you that your information is being stolen by the American government and used against you. For revealing the greatest espionage scandal in history. This man is a man without a passport, effectively imprisoned in Moscow airport. And yet, in Venezuela, they lodged a request in 1990s to extradite a criminal terrorist who blew up a plane and lives freely in Miami, and the American government refuses to extradite. They hold hundreds of people without charge in Guantanamo Bay. They killed 1 million people in Iraq. They still occupy Afghanistan. They drop bombs on Afghanistan on a daily basis. And this is the government that claims it is defending your freedom and my freedom. In fact, Edward Snowden revealed that he had unauthorized power to search the email even of Barack Obama. And so, what is this state that is observing us? What is this apparatus that they have given such control that they can universally observe everything we do? This must end, and it must end now. And people must wake up and organize to make sure that our data, let's be clear, that's what it is. It's our data. We enter it. It's our creative act. It comes off our machines. It belongs to us, not to Facebook, not to Microsoft, not to the US government, not to the British government, the French government, the German government. Our data, our communication belongs to us. And it must be private unless there is proof of a criminal act. It must remain private and confidential. So I appeal to you, support the campaign. Go onto the websites on the internet that are supporting the campaign. RestoreTheFourth.net. It is about restoring, in relation to the United States of America, the Constitution of America. The Fourth Amendment states, I repeat, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated.